Hey girl, I'm Jamie Constantine. I'm a wife, mom of 2 teenage boys, and a multi-passionate female entrepreneur. I have a vision of a world of confident women who love themselves wholeheartedly. This is my new happy place, and I hope that it becomes yours too. So toss your hair up in that messy bun, grab your cup of coffee, get comfortable, and let's dive in. Welcome to the Happy Girl Podcast. Looking for a little retail therapy and want to shop from the comfort of your own home? Head on over to happygirlpodcast.com, click on our sponsors, and check out None of Your Business Boutique. Enter discount code HAPPYGIRL to save $5 off your purchase. Welcome to the Happy Girl Podcast. I'm your host, Jamie Constantine, and we are recording for the very first time in the Called Podcast Studio in beautiful and thriving Newport Richey, Florida. And I am so excited to be here, and I have my first guest in the studio right now, and I'm super excited and so glad that she made time for us today. Thank you, Nadine Dominguez, for joining us on the Happy Girl Podcast. Nadine is a mom, she's a wellness coach and mentor, entrepreneur, and super loved and respected in our community. I'm so happy to have you here, Nadine. We're going to talk about a lot of things from family life to entrepreneurship and ways that we can really take care of ourselves in this community as women and as just humans trying to live our best lives. Can you go ahead and say hello to our listeners and tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Hi guys, so I'm Nadine Dominguez. So first, I just want to say never in my life did I think I'd ever be introduced with all these different titles behind my name. I'm born, raised here in the Tampa Bay area. I'm a mom of 3, wife, and business owner. My story kind of goes from the girl who had no thrill for the ride of college or schooling. I wanted to climb up the corporate ladder, and it just kept pushing me back to places that I technically didn't really want to be. Got this opportunity to become a business owner, to work for myself through network marketing. And I was always that girl that's like, that's good for them, but not for me, until I was like, well, why not me? And 5 years in now, it's crazy to think how much has happened, how much growth, not in monetary values, but personally, spiritually, mentally, through my health, wellness, mind, body, and spirit. And, I'm on this ride and so excited to see where we go from here.
That's so incredible. And yeah, there are so many different aspects being a mother, having that family life and taking that step into entrepreneurship and really following your passions. I want you to share, you did take a big leap of faith 5 years ago, but before we get into that, now, girls, Nadine doesn't drink coffee, but she does have tea. So can you tell us what your favorite tea drink is?
I used to drink coffee and it was café con leche, but I love hot tea. Anything cinnamon and cranberry related is my favorite.
Oh, that sounds so good. And I feel like fall and the holidays are already coming up. So I can't wait to even try that. Now, do you drink that hot or ice?
Hot.
Hot,
yeah.
So
yeah,
good.
even on the hottest of hot Florida days, I drink it hot.
Okay, very comforting, very yummy, and very good for your soul.
Yes.
So I would love for you to take us, if you can I know you told us a little bit of where you were, your mindset, your thought process of even doing network marketing or starting your own business. But from saying that you took a leap of faith 5 years ago to pursue your passions and follow your dreams, what was that like for you? What sparked that? And kind of just take us down that road and tell us your story with that.
So, honestly, I never thought in my wildest dreams that I'd be doing what I was doing, because I was never somebody that was into health and wellness. 5 years ago, I found myself in this very depressive state. I had beautiful children, beautiful marriage, but I could not find happiness within myself. And, we all have those people that we look at through social media that we're inspired by. And I had watched somebody for 3 years transforming their lives and just being this healthy version of them, being this wholesome person. And I got to know this person actually in real life. So I knew it was real. And I was like, well, why can she do it and not me? And finally one night I just had this brave moment, May 26, 2016, 11 o'clock at night. I'm laying in bed in tears and just I just want to feel better about myself. At that time, my doctor had told me that I was facing, obesity, which at that, I didn't think 160 pounds was considered that, but for my height, and those were hard words. I was also, borderline diabetic, and I'm like, what path am I living? Like, is this what I want my life to become? Being Hispanic, having a family, we love to eat, we eat our emotions, we eat for everything. And I was like, I have to do better for my children. I have to do better for me. I have to break these generational curses that are on me and my family. And I have to just do better. So I had a brave moment. And I didn't know what I was doing. And I was like, I'm going to sign up for this business. Like, what do I have to lose? Like, I'm already spending money in college. I'm working a job that I could care two craps about. So I was like, I'm just going to do something different. And I won't lie. I knew that the next morning, well, this is what I thought. The next morning I was going to wake up and be like, that was great, Nadine. Wasted your money. You're not going to do anything with it. But by my surprise, I had reached out to the girl that I had got to meet in person. I was like, hey, I've joined your team. Like, I've heard a lot about you. I've watched you. What do I do? And she had sent me this whole plan. And I was like, well, this is a lot. But I just took it day by day. And I was like, if every day I can become 1% better, or I can choose one healthy option, or just one healthy behavior to just change my mindset and the way that I see myself daily, who knows what can happen. So that's exactly what I started to. I started to choose healthier options to eat. I started to surround myself by more healthy-minded people. I started having different conversations, and I started to see myself in a completely different way. And it wasn't just a physical transformation. I did lose 30 pounds in 10 pant sizes, and I remember when I went to go see my doctor, and he was like, whoa, what did you do? I'm like, I got healthy. But it wasn't just that. It was the person I was becoming. Like, I looked in the mirror, and every day I kept telling myself, like, I'm becoming happier with who you are. Like, the things you're listening to, the people you're allowing yourself to be surrounded by, the things you're not allowing into your space. Like, who are you? And friends and family started to see it. And yeah, we lost some relationships along the way, but I think it was all for the greater purpose of what I was to become.
Wow. And it sounds like you went into it, really with your heart, because it was more from a personal perspective rather than just looking at it like a business opportunity, or I'm going to do something that's going to make me all this money and I want to try this new business venture. You really went into it with this mindset and the intention to do better for yourself.
Yep.
Something sparked something with where you were at that state in your life. And then you finally decided to, like you're saying, it really was taking a leap of faith. And the really neat thing that I love about that story is the fact that you saw someone on social media, or that you didn't even know, a mentor that you never had met in person, but you followed and you were inspired by her, where a lot of times these days with social media, it is a big thing where we see that and we start to compare ourselves or, start to kind of go in that other direction. So I really love the fact that you stated how it inspired you, and it made such a big impact in changing your life.
Yeah.
Now, when you did that, and I know that you're saying that some of your relationships faltered, friends or family members, I know whenever we're trying to better ourselves or do things that are good in our life, if people are not in that state, unfortunately, they're not going to see that side. And then it becomes difficult to kind of be on that same level. And then I think I heard at some point, it was a podcast that I had listened to a while ago, that when we lose relationships like that, I think it's their fear of losing you, because it's not that you're turning into somebody that you're not, because you are who you've always been. It's just that you're making some improvements on yourself, and they fear by doing that, they're going to lose you because they're not at that same level.
Exactly.
But at the same time, you did have a lot of friends, family, and made new relationships and connections in the community of people that supported you, were part of a team with you. Tell me how that dynamic was for the people that stuck by you, maybe even encouraged you a little bit more. And tell me how the family dynamic worked in that case, and, going forward with, kind of to where you're at right now with the whole family dynamic. I mean, being a mom, it can be extremely overwhelming to, let's say, quote unquote, and we talk about this a lot, balance life.
Chaotic
whether it's
balance.
A career, entrepreneurship, or anything like that. So what's that dynamic like for you?
So my husband was actually my biggest hater. He was the person that was like, what are you doing? Why are you rocking our boat? And I tell this story all the time because so many people are scared to put that foot forward because they're worried about what everybody's going to think about. Like, is everybody else going to be willing to catch up? Are they going to be willing to be supportive? And I had to ask myself one question. Am I supportive of the things that I want? And if I am, then the people that are meant to be on this journey with me, they're going to come. So Thomas, my husband, was like, what's going on? Like, he's very old school. We get jobs. We're going to retire. Like, we're good. And I was like, that's not really what I want to do. Like, I want to like work for myself. And he's like, that's never going to happen. So imagine living with somebody who doubted your every move. And it created some tension within our household, but it also created a lot of fire underneath my butt to say, I'm going to show him that this works. I'm going to show him that I'm capable, not necessarily that the business works or that the products work, but that I can work and I can do anything I set my mind to, because I felt like he was doubting me. So, it definitely caused some tension, but because I never gave up, and every time he would come at me with like an objection or, I was like, stop, watch me do this, and I remember the month that I quit my corporate job. So the month before, I made $600 and I quit my job on April 1st, 2018. So in March, I made $600. And April 1st, I quit my job. And he's like, what did you just do? And I was like, it's okay. I'm going to make money. Like, it's no problem. My heart is in this. Like, that's all I need to know. And the next month, I made amazing income. And he was like, whoa, you actually did it. So that was like his first, like, notch of belief. Like, at first he thought I was crazy. Then it was belief. And so once I started to get him on my side, I felt like I felt more powerful in that sense because he is my life partner, and like I want that support. So for him, I mean, I have a best friend that has watched me through this journey. We've been friends since we were diapers. Watch me through this journey. I offered her to come and join me. I was like, let's do this together. And she's like, no, that's good for you. And now she's, one of the, a great producer on our team, and she's amazing. And, she's working her way to being, her own boss full time. So it's just with family and friends. Like I said, the people who are meant to be there are going to be there. And if not, you have to say, okay, it's okay. I'm going to love you exactly where you are, but I have to keep moving. And if you decide to stay where you are, or you decide to move in a different direction, no matter whether it's with me or doing something else, I support you, but I can't sit in the same spot with you any longer. And you have to have confidence in that. And you have to know that, things will be okay. As for my kids, I started this business when my kids were 3 and 2 years old or 1 year old. And so they've really seen me grow in this business. Like you said, you call it, what would you say? Balance?
Quote unquote balance.
Oh yeah, no. So I call it chaotic balance. There is no balance with having a family and running a business because when I'm not at our storefront, my head's in like, okay, what's coming up next? What are we doing next? So my kids just come to understand, and they've come to really like hand in hand with me, help me to grow this. And every single day that I look at them, like, it's just my reminder that this is why I do what I do. I can't use it. They tell you to pick a why, and you can't use your why as your why not, and my kids are my why. They're why I wake up every single morning. So if I said, oh, well, I can't do this event, or I can't do this, or I can't do this podcast or meet up with this person because I have to do X, Y, and Z for the kids, I'm using them as an excuse,
Absolutely. And I love that. And just from following you and, getting to know you a little bit better, I love seeing how you get the kids involved in the business. I mean, the fun little things, the TikToks, the Insta stories. And even when you have events at your business, I mean, they're there. And that's one of the things that I really love about it is it gives, especially if you're serving your local community, it gives you this sense of comfort. And then when you can see that you're a mom and you can bring your kids to these kinds of things, it really is inspiring. And it really does go to show that if you really want to do something that it's you really have no excuses to go forward. And I really love that. So I do want to also talk about a lot of things that you coach and mentor people with. And one of your big things is self-love, self-care, and wellness is such a big part of that. Obviously, it was a big part of your personal journey of getting you to the point that you're at now. So I would love to hear how you go about, mentoring people and coaching them. Do you have a specific style or technique that you use? And then we'll get into some tips that you can give to our listeners as well.
Perfect. What I always tell my people is the hardest thing about owning a business, especially the type of business that I'm in the health and wellness, is that we are our biggest project ourselves. Like how we show up, what we're feeding our minds, like how we feel about ourselves, the things that we're saying to ourselves. So if you are not in a relationship like so committed with yourself to where daily you're working on you, whether it's working out, eating healthy, listening to a good podcast, listening to personal development, and just creating this higher version of yourself, then this business won't work for you. I'll be completely blatant. It will not work for you because you cannot remain the same person and expect different results. It's just like isn't that like the definition of insanity, right? So I mean, when I get to know our team members, I want to know about their families. I'm a mom, like that's me, that's number one. So I want to get to know their families and I want to understand what it means to them for them to achieve the goals that they desire. And once we kind of dabble in that, I provide them a full guide plan on how to create the business, on the steps that I took. I can never speak on anything that I've never actually done myself, and I always tell people that I will never tell my team members to go do something that I haven't done. We recently opened up storefronts in the last year and a half. I was the first person to do it on our team. And now we have going on 5 locations, but I had to do that first. So our guide plans are everything that are created from a real life experience. And then, just really, taking people hand by hand and understanding that every scenario and every case is different. We may be running the same business. We may be, having a similar mission, but everybody's situation is different, and just understanding and really getting to know people. I don't see people as a number. To me, that was corporate life, and I refuse to see people as that. I want to see people for what they want to bring to the world and their passion to share.
Hey there. Are you thinking of starting a podcast? Have you created a podcast already and just not sure where to upload all of your episodes to? Well, I want to share Libsyn with you. That's where I upload all of my episodes to get out onto all of those platforms like Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, iTunes, and so much more. They have such a great support team and they're very user-friendly. I want to give you the opportunity to take advantage of a month plus free by heading over to Libsyn.com and entering code HAPPY. There's plans and prices for everyone depending on your messaging and your audience. So head on over to Libsyn, that's LIBSYN.com, enter code HAPPY, and get a month plus free. Happy podcasting. And now back to the show.
Okay, that is awesome. And I love how you can really differentiate with different people's lives, because that is so true. A lot of people have different lifestyles, right? And their reasons and their meanings and their passions and their dreams might be a little bit different. So I love how you're able to just kind of work with people where they're at and then kind of go from there, because self-love and self-care are so important, and also really just living a real, authentic life as well. What would you say to our listeners, maybe like your top 2 to 3 things that you love to do as far as maybe self-care regimens or any sort of self-love routine that you have in place?
So every single morning I wake up, and it's so funny that you asked this because I just posted this on my social media today. But every single morning I wake up and the first thing I do is I freshen myself up. Like, that's so important, guys. Like, trust me, right now I have no makeup on. Okay. And that's me 90% of the time, but I do assure, to brush out my hair, like put on something that makes me feel good, even if it's just a cute workout outfit. How you show up for your day, ladies, is everything. If you're rocking it out with a top knot and hey, you feel powerful in that top knot, then do it. But if you put on that top knot and you're like, I feel like trash today, guess what? That's what your day is going to be like. So every single morning, wake up, show up for yourself. Write down your goals. It's so important. And it can be daily, weekly, monthly. I'm always in my agenda. Oh, my husband's always like, what are you planning now? And I'm like, my next best thing.
I love it.
It's always, something like, so I'm very intentional with my days. I know we all hear that quote, we're all given the same 24 hours in a day. Well, it's really true. Like, what are you doing with the time from the time that you're awake to the time that you go to sleep? I don't believe in TV. Like, my kids watch TV, my husband does, but if I'm sitting down on the couch watching TV, you better believe that I'm having a conversation with a business partner or something like that. Because to me, that's free time, but that's just my commitment level. So just being, very, very aware of what I'm doing with my time, making sure I'm crossing off my to-dos, making sure I'm getting the follow-ups done, all the things that, have to do with my business. And then the third thing is you have to believe in something, and you have to give your worries, your stresses, to something bigger than you. Within this journey, I also found my relationship with God. And, I realized that there's no way that in my life, I've gotten to where I am, or I have I've been delivered the blessings that I have through just by mistake. For a long time, I would blame it just on me. But every single day at the end of the night, I drop to my knees and I'm just thankful, and maybe not drop to my knees, but like in the shower, and I just relieve myself of any stresses, things that did not go okay. And I leave them there. And I say, tomorrow's a new day. And I start off fresh every single day, and I go to bed with a peaceful mind. Going to bed with stress, with, weight on your shoulders is not going to set you up for success.
Yeah, that is so true, because there's a lot of things that can be super heavy, and we tend to focus a lot on that, which makes it complicated sometimes for us to even move forward. So I love how you started off in that fresh, like a cleanse, right? A cleanse in the morning, whether it's physically, spiritually, mentally. Yep. And then a cleanse at the end of your day. So some people like to say, just do the thing when you wake up in the morning. And then some people just like to say, just do the thing when you go to sleep. I like how you do both. Mm-hmm. And then regardless of how the day goes, because it's life, right? Even though we have this plan and we have our intentions in place, sometimes things change and bumps come up and we don't, unexpected things. But as long as you can maneuver through the day, I love how you start your day off that way. And then how you go to bed with that cleanse and just that fresh way to get started for the next day and do it all over again.
Yes. Yeah, seriously. And, and that's the thing. I think with the beauty of life is that things are not supposed to be perfect. And like you mentioned earlier, we're in a social media world where we're always comparing ourselves, and we're like, that's great for that person, but not for me. But real life is what you're living, and you have to embrace your hard times. You have to embrace the bumps in the road. You have to embrace the things that didn't go that way and share them. Like things happen in our household or in my daily life that I'm like, what just happened? And I share it with the world because it allows people to know that, wow, she's created a successful business. She's that woman that, I desire to be, but yet she still goes through the things that I go through every single day. And that's how I connect with people, because you become relatable, you become real, and people want to be a part of that.
That's one of the things that I love about following you on social media. Because let's just say this, your Instagram is amazing.
Thank you.
Beautiful photos. You do share family things. You share personal things. But your photos, they just look amazing. But you have your stories and you have your reels and you show the funny stuff with your TikToks. And you do show that true, genuine, authentic side of you that a lot of people could easily get so lost. But once they get to see who you are and that you are real, it does show that things can be attainable in that way of life, in this life that we're living.
Exactly.
And I want to talk to you because I come across this a lot with some people when we get into conversations about maybe they're not happy where they're at in their current job, or maybe they're just like kind of thinking of doing something, but they don't know what. And sometimes I'll be like, girl, like, what do you want to do? Like, what do you like to do? What are your hobbies? What are your passions? What would you say to that person that's like, I don't know. I don't know.
That was me. Like I said in the beginning, I never thought that I'd be in the health and wellness industry, but you have to find something that speaks to you. Like I always say, if there's something that you're always thinking about and you keep brushing it off, like, no, that's not for me, or like, I'm not about that life or whatever, but you continue to think about it, maybe that's a sign from something that's way bigger than you that's saying like, hey, maybe this is where you're meant to be planted and maybe this is what you're meant to do. So sometimes we need to sit in silence and see what our thoughts and the things that we desire are pulling us towards. And we have to be real with ourselves, and we can't be scared of the unknown, and we can't be scared of like, well, why would I want to do that? Like, did you really think that you'd start a podcast when, you started everything?
No,
like,
I don't, you know what? And even if you ask me right now, I'm like, wait a minute. Like, how did that happen?
Yeah.
And I even talk about it a lot. Like, I know what my message is and I know what my vision is. And I know that I want to like touch the community in some way with just sharing messages and stories from other people in our community. But then I'm like, oh, wait, how did I even it was just like
It happens.
this thing within me. And that's the thing, you kind of just follow, right? You start somewhere and it leads you to meeting new people, or it leads you to finding an opportunity, and then you discover something about yourself and you're like, wait a minute. But it's the process.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't just happen like snap your finger and you're like, that's what I'm going to do.
I know. People want this plan that goes A straight to Z. And I'm like, oh, no. We got to go like A to B, back to A to D.
Right. Because
skip some letters.
Sometimes you fall back.
Yeah.
Right. And then you start to question. And especially with, I think the two together, wellness, health, all that stuff, physical fitness, exercise, and entrepreneurship, we're both passionate about a lot of the same things. But the thing is, I think with fitness and wellness and entrepreneurship, when we get to a place where we're stuck, or we get to a place where nothing is going like how it's supposed to in our mind, or what we have planned or intended, then we start to second guess everything. And it's just so easy to be like, why am I doing this in the first place?
That was us. Back in 2019 was the hardest year in my business. And that was the year that we decided to open up our storefront. And literally I'm sitting there broke as a joke, like, what are we doing? Like, but my vision and my mindset and like what I want to achieve was so alive. But I had literally felt like I had taken the step all the way back to point A. And I was like, well, we're just going to do this and we're going to figure it out. And everybody's looking at me like I'm crazy, opening up a location in a place I don't even live, like don't know anybody, have no money. And I was like, it's going to be great. And you just have to believe in yourself. Like there's not much. I mean, if somebody told me to go swim in the ocean, I tell you, no, I can't do that. I'm going to drown. But there's not much somebody can tell me that I'm not capable of when it comes to this, like to what I do, helping people. And helping people comes in so many different forms. And that's why I focus on wellness more than anything, because I feel like I'm unstoppable. When I'm doing my field and I'm in my craft, I feel unstoppable. And I think that's when you're where you're meant to be.
I love that. That is so extremely powerful. And I do love, I think I commented on your Instagram, like share the light, continue shining, because you're doing such an amazing job. And I would love for you to go ahead and share how people can find you, right? Because you help people in the wellness aspect on a personal level, and then also taking it that next step into turning it into a business as well. Yeah. So there's that option for just the personal growth side, and then the entrepreneurship side. Can you tell us physically where they can find you? Tell us a little bit about your business, and then share how they can get in touch with you and find you in all the ways.
Definitely. So I run this business through social media in over 95 countries. So you can always follow me on Instagram at lifeasnadine_. I did recently just create a secondary page, just as a backup, but kind of more focused on certain health and wellness things, and that's Together We Climb. So you can always follow me on Instagram for daily stories, pep talks, motivation, tips of wellness and health. And then if you're local here in the Newport Richey area, I do have a nutritional shop where we do protein shakes, energizing teas, and all these great things. And that's at Talk House Nutrition. And we are located at 9945 Trinity Boulevard, number 103 in Trinity, Florida, 34655.
Yes, definitely go in and check it out if you are local. They do have, and they make protein donuts. So you can grab yourself a protein donut, grab some tea or any sort of coffee flavored drink, because they make some really yummy and delicious things there, and they're really good for you. I'm so excited that Nadine Dominguez. I'm so excited that Nadine Dominguez was able to join us today and share her light with all of our listeners in the community. And ladies, if you want to get in touch with her and find out all the ways that you can really take that next step to living a well lifestyle. Again, she is just such a real and authentic person, and she'll help get you there. Just go ahead and reach out to her with any questions or anything that you may need. And if you want to reference this episode and so much more, which we are now recording at the Called Podcast Studio in Newport Richey, then go ahead and check us out at happygirlpodcast.com. Thanks, Nadine.
Thank you.
I'm over here giving you the biggest virtual hug. because you just finished another episode of the Happy Girl Podcast. Wow, did that just go by way too fast? If you want more, head over to happygirlpodcast.com for show notes and discount codes from all of the sponsors. And if you're looking for a tribe of women just like you to bounce ideas and ask questions, be sure to join my exclusive community on Facebook. The link is waiting for you at happygirlpodcast.com.